copy it in just so we can all see who is in the audience here. So once again, just to share a little bit about what we're going to be doing today, I'm going to just do a brief introduction of what Pursuit Core and what our hackathon's all about. Then I'm going to pass it over to our MC, Aaron, and then you guys are going to be hearing a lot from our fellows about the demos. So if we just keep on going. Next slide, Alex. So as you all probably already know, given your work at Pursuit over the past many years or months, however you've been introduced, our fellows, our iOS fellows, have been working incredibly hard since last fall to become mobile developers. The pictures that you're seeing here, this is actually the first day of Pursuit back in September 2019, when fellows were starting to work in teams for the first time, building products with very, very little time. Sounds very familiar, right? This was really the first hackathon. And today, simply a few months later, we are already, people are taking just a few days to build full-on mobile apps. Once again, if you are not muted and not speaking, please mute yourself.
I just took care of it.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Alex. So our fellows have been spending the past several months learning to code as well as building relationships and networks throughout the industry, as well as working on a variety of their own passion projects. They've been working in groups as well, ongoing since I think Unit 3, Unit 4, as well as going on site visits and so on. So Hackathon today is one of the many things that they've been doing that everyone here should be incredibly proud of, but it's definitely not the final thing. We've got a couple more months to go where our fellows are going to be continuing to build and build and build even more. At Pursuit, for those of you who are new to our organization, our focus is to transform communities by bringing change and opportunity where it's needed most. And we've been seeing this with our alumni over the past 5 cohorts before. This is our 6th cohort here. Our focus has been on recruiting and selecting as well as training people to be developers, whether it's web development, mobile development, and supporting them as they go into different jobs across the board. So if we go into the next slide, Alex. So what you're going to be seeing here over the next hour and a half or so is going to be really hearing from our fellows and seeing some of the work that they're doing. I'm excited to introduce Aaron Cabrera. He himself is a 5.3 alum. You're going to see his picture very soon. And he is now actually a support engineer at JW Player. He was previously an instructional associate working directly with our security class. So we're so excited to have him back here now at this point. And he's going to be sharing a lot more about the work that our fellows are doing. So turning it over to you, Aaron.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, we're here to celebrate the tremendous achievement that this class has, gone through. They've been coding for the now past 6 months, and they've gone through tremendous hurdles, not only going into learn a new subject, learn how to code, learn Swift, learn technical and professional skills at Pursuit, but also having to brave this tremendous situation that we're going through with COVID-19. They had to work together remotely and really come together as a team and as a class to come up with these beautiful applications that they're going to present to you today. And I can tell you that I'm extremely proud of all of them, having taught all of them for the past 5 months. And I'm excited to see what they've accomplished. And I'm excited to introduce the judges now who will be judging what they've built. So without further ado, we'll go to the next slide, and we'll have all of the judges introduce themselves, starting with Abiru CVK from Hutsi. Please introduce yourself and what you do, and how and how you came across Pursuit.
Yeah, so hey everyone, I'm Abi. I am working at Hutsi. It's a startup in the real estate space. Have been working on startups for the past couple of years. And I came about Pursuit when one of my friends, who is a volunteer at Pursuit as well, was just telling me about how an amazing opportunity it is to volunteer here. So I was like, yeah, I definitely want to join.
Welcome, welcome.
And Sukriti.
Hello, I am an Android developer turned product manager at Yahoo Finance, which is part of Verizon Media now. I've been working with Pursuit for about 3 years now, since I was a developer, and I'm excited to be here and see what everyone's act. So thank you.
And Will, we heard a little bit about you already and your experience with Alex. I'm sure it was a great one. Could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone. My name's Will. I've been a developer in the iOS space for a couple of years now. I met Alex last year and kind of got my introduction to Pursuit last year at WWDC, where we were both scholars. And then since then, I've just been working on my own apps, and I'm also now working for a company called UserCamp, which are based out of Canada. But I'm working remote from Adelaide in South Australia.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome, judges. Thank you so much. If we could go to the next slide. We really appreciate you coming here, and you know, especially during this time, it's actually a blessing that we have Zoom and we're able to, like Will, be able to judge all the way from Australia. So it's actually great, and we're using these technologies, and hopefully some of us will use the technologies that this hackathon produces. So without further ado, I'll open up the floor to some Q&As for the judges. If anybody has any questions to the judges about what they do and about their background, please feel free to give a few shout outs to them.
So my question for all the judges would be, what excites you? You guys know about Pursuit now. What excites you, like each of you, about Pursuit and our mission, especially now?
I can go first. I guess it's really exciting to see how adaptable Pursuit has been with, you know, everything being remote and this hackathon as well. So I'm really excited to see how that will develop just as the months come along.
I suppose I think the mission of Pursuit is really great and really quite inspiring for myself to try and get more and more people into this, you know, fantastic community and this fantastic space. And I think the idea of doing a virtual hackathon is a really great way to tackle the you know, ongoing crisis, especially in New York City. And so when I saw that, you know, it was happening and saw that judges were needed, I thought like it'd be really, really cool to get involved. And I'm so glad that I got this opportunity, and I can't wait to see what everyone comes up with today.
I would love to, if anybody has any further questions, if you could just throw them into the chat, and Sloan and Alex will be monitoring them and letting me know if there are any questions. I can bring them up to the judges.
I can talk to the Pursuit mission, which I've been involved with for the past 3 years. Fundamentally, I believe that much like everyone here, that everyone has talent and potential, but the opportunity and access is not universal. And that's what Pursuit is working towards. And that's why this mission is so powerful. And the tech community has been so great for me personally and for a lot of people that I work with. And it's great to see everyone coming together, especially right now in this time, and doing something meaningful for the community. So it's just a circle or a cycle of giving back, which is incredibly great to see.
Thank you, thank you. Welcome, welcome.
Also, I know for the alumni, hi, I'm Tanya from 6.3 class. I know for the alumni of Pursuit, you is this how your career started? Did you have previous experience in coding before?
Visual, right? Visual, yeah. Okay, good time. Here's my daughter.
Please mute your phone. Please mute your stuff.
There a conference in
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Tanya?
Sorry, my dad just happened to come in at the same time. Okay, so I was just saying, like, because I know, like, Pursuit allows us to get into careers in tech, like, without having any experience at all. Is that the same? Did you, the judges, did you have any experience prior, or was it just like your first initial introduction?
And to clarify, Tanya, is that a question about first experience with Pursuit, first experience?
First experience, I'm sorry, I'm trying to
It's okay.
experience with tech. Like I know some have stated that they had previous experience, but any of the panels, the judges on the panel, was Pursuit your first like
Entry or experience with technology and programming.
Thank you.
So for go ahead.
Sorry, it looks like everyone else is muted, so I'll start. My introduction to tech, it's hard to really pinpoint like a definitive moment. It wasn't Pursuit. I only found out about Pursuit last year. My whole life have been really interested in all forms of technology, to the point where when I was 5 years old, my dad would come to me when there was a problem with the TV, just because I'd gone through all the menus before and I figured it all out. But my start into programming really came from when I was in year 8 in high school. We had a class teaching us Python, and I hated it. I thought it was the worst thing in the world, and I thought I'd never want to program again. And then in our second semester, I had another class teaching us Python, but that only came about because we were being taught animations with Flash, and not one person did the homework, and our teacher got fed up and didn't want to teach us Flash. So she said, "That's it, I'm going to teach you Python." And for some reason, the second time around, it just clicked, and ever since then, I've been, programming nearly every day for the last 5 years.
Oh, that's so cool.
Thank you for that word of inspiration. Every day, right? Every day.
Almost.
Any other judges? Yeah. Any other judges want to hop on Tanya's question of how they were introduced into tech?
I started programming in high school, so it goes way back. And I'm sad now that I don't get to code as much as I used to. But I get to work with engineers who are much better at doing that than I am. So that's rewarding.
Would I say much better? I'll probably say it takes both, right? Like you're a product manager right now currently, correct?
Correct.
So having the experience of a programmer gives you more of the understanding of what a developer goes through and the expectations?
That's absolutely right. I see my users in two sets, the engineering team I work with and the end user that we're serving, and I need to keep both happy. And it's an interesting balance.
Exactly.
I think a great manager makes all the difference as well. Having someone who knows how to code but also knows how to manage is a great way. At least like in my experience when I've been coding, having a great manager has always been way more beneficial to me than having another teammate who's great at coding. So I think, both roles are crucial.
Yeah. Product managers luckily don't actually manage people, so it's a little lighter there. But I agree with the overall
product.
Yeah.
All right. And so we have a question from Greg and from Jess. So I'm going to go ahead with Greg's first. So have any of the panelists ever participated in a hackathon outside of Pursuit, either as a judge or as a participant, someone creating an app? And what was your experience?
I can go first. I took part in, it was interesting. It was in a direct hackathon. It was a protothon. So it was a prototyping no code type hackathon. And I did that probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And I really, really enjoyed it. I think, similarly put in different teams and, we were allowed to tackle whatever problems that we wanted to. I think the theme for that protothon was natural disasters. So I think my team came out with this idea where you could have collapsible homes that you could just kind of ship over or truck over to the site and then quickly like unfold them and then provide housing for, temporary housing for anyone who might need it, right? And I think hackathons are just kind of a good way to get the brain juices flowing, work in a team, try to come up with a different solution, and yeah.
Cool. Very nice.
Thank you.
I haven't participated in any hackathons prior to this one, so this one's my first and hopefully not the last, but no, there's not much I can comment on with that question.
I've participated in 2, one as an organizer in college. That was part of the entrepreneurship club, and the second is I've participated in company-wide hackathon several times, one of which I won, but never as a judge. So this was the first time doing it.
Nice. Setting the bar very high. So, and then Jess had a question for the judges, you know, given the changing economy, what do you as judges recommend to the fellows in order to prepare for the job search, and how can the fellows prepare as new engineers in this job market?
I'll try and speak to that. I think what people find out really quick is that it's a lot of who you know, and that's like, I suppose, unfortunate, but it is a lot about who you know. So I would say get on, say, Twitter or something, and start getting involved with the community, like this tech community, because the job that I have now at User Camp, I found because someone I followed on Twitter retweeted the job listing, and that's how I found it. And I knew the person I was following, and they knew me, and so I had this person at this company who was suddenly looking for a new developer who I actually knew, and having, you know, that one foot in the door is really helpful at the start. And you don't have to, you know, meet them in person, shake their hand, and get a business card. All you really need to do is engage with a couple of tweets, follow a couple of people that inspire you, and that can actually already, like, really give you a leg up.
Very nice.
This part is hard to do when it's not in person, but it's also a great opportunity to cold email or reach out to people on LinkedIn, because they have nothing to do right now, for the most part. Most people are, if you ask us a really specific question about either their work experience or something that they've done that they're personally passionate about, that comes through. And I've been surprised in the past helping the community and other people who share their passion. So I would try to look for people who share something that you have in common. Just talk to them about just getting it.
Hi, how can I help you?
Very cool. Is there any other questions that we have for the panelists? Feel free to put them in the chat or speak now.
Awesome. Hi, Bree.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Welcome.
So we wanted to now go to the next section. So the theme of this hackathon that we decided as a classroom team, especially given everything that was going on, was community needs. We wanted to figure out how can we help the communities that surround us, that we live in, that we're currently stuck in, and how can we really empower the people who are, you know, going into different scenarios, whether it be remote or whether they just needed some sort of community health and community needs. So that was the main theme of this hackathon. How could we help the communities around us? So without further ado, we're gonna start introducing the groups. You know, we wanna go and say, these are the three main categories for the judges, right? We're gonna say there's a most impactful, which is awarded to, you know, the team that built an app that was that solved the most problems, right, in the community, that addressed the most problems in the community. Then we're going to have the highest efficacy. So it's going to be awarded to the team that developed and implemented a quick and effective solution to the community. And we're going to have the most creative award, which demonstrated the visionary solution. So the team that was able to really implement a lot of, you know, ideas into their solution. A lot of good can come up from this solution. So the most creative, the highest efficacy, and the most impactful. So let's go on to the next slide.
And,
so for
Aaron,
that,
can I add
yeah.
one more thing in here?
Yeah, of course.
We are super lucky as well, because in addition for our hackathon judges, we actually have hackathon sponsors. So if you go next slide after that, we actually have two special sponsors this time for our 6.3 hackathon. It's Jose Vila as well as Rusi Lee. They're on the hackathon channel right now. They're both 3.0 Android alumni and former instructors. They have actually generously stepped up to offer the prizes for this year's hackathon. So Jose will be writing recommendations and profiling the winning apps to his network of recruiters and engineers, and Rusi is actually sponsoring with the Amazon gift cards. So just want to give a big shout out, but just also to underscore to our whole community about what a huge community this is, and how our alumni are constantly giving back. So thank you all.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you. And thank you to Rusi and to Jose for all that you do for the Pursuit community. All right. Are we all ready for the moment of truth? All right. So this is the presentation order. We're going to have Bite, Together, Take Me Home, Find Your Peers, Everybody Eats, Fair and Square, and Volo. So I'm going to let Bite introduce themselves, what their app is, and all of their team members. I'll take it away, Bite.
So with that, a member of Byte will be presenting the screen now. So please go ahead and share your screen.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, cool. Are we ready to go?
Yes.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. So first off, thank you everyone for being here. I did not expect to have such a big crowd, so I'm actually getting nervous starting. But to begin, welcome to Byte. This app idea came out because one day I was driving my mom home, my mom to work, and we saw a bunch of migrant workers on the corners. And of course, we know like this, the economic status of these migrant workers who rely on working on the corners for construction purposes. If they don't work, basically, they don't get paid for that day, and then they likely don't have money to eat. So with a small conversation with my mom and I, this really touched me because that's something that no human should experience, going to bed hungry. And you know, there's a world hunger, but this is just, I guess, our small bite into into trying to fix this issue, at least at a local level. Now, my team members, David Lynn, Margette Hill, Cameron Rivera, cartoon Cameron Rivera, and myself, we dedicated the last 3 days into building this app. We put our heart in it. We spent hours, and so I hope you enjoy. This is a little logo that was created, and take it away for Cameron. Sorry.
As we know, hunger.
It's Cameron.
As we know, hunger is a huge issue. Is a huge issue right now. About 37 million people go hungry in the United States, and about 33 billion pounds of food go to waste each year. Therefore, we came up with a solution with our app called App, an all-in-one app where it would facilitate users, restaurants, and food bank services to promote free meals to individuals hassle-free. With this app, we hope to target at least 15% of the food that goes to waste, and with that 50%, we'll be able to feed 25 million people.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the technology we use. We use core location for reverse geo location. We used Firebase to store our data, and we used localization because we want to be able to target not just English speakers, but anyone of any language who is hungry. So we did implement a lot over the last 3 days, I feel, but we still have a lot that we'd like to add as well. One of the biggest things we were given an idea by a mentor to add a QR code. And the way that system would work is that when a person who is hungry goes to claim a meal from a restaurant, they would be presented with a QR code. And when they get to that restaurant to get the meal, the person who is there to present them the meal will scan the QR code. And in that way, it serves as a sort of like dual authentication so that people can abuse the system in any way. With regard, in addition to that, we'd like to, as I mentioned before, localize to as many languages as we can. And we also would like to add a button that when you press it, will present you with a clown who will come and shake your hand. We have an army of clowns on standby, just waiting to do that, so. All right, so, so without further ado, our app. So we have two different users. We have a venue owner and then someone who's eating. So we'll go through the user who is the I am hungry button. So David's gonna press that for me. And then because our target audience are people who might not want their information out there in a big way, migrant workers and maybe other people who just don't want to be so exposed, we have implemented authentication through the use of phone number. So David's gonna click sign in. He's gonna input a number that may or may not be mine, 347-283-0392. And then that number, which may or may not be mine, will receive a verification. Text. So that's 386-409. And with that, he's in.
So yeah, so as Cameron mentioned, we have two UIs, user interfaces. One is for the average user and one is for restaurant owners and business owners alike. So this is our venue portal that I'm showing on the right screen right now. And this venue portal, it's very different. It allows the venues to update their information. For example, once they update their address and the contact information, they'll be able to edit their information as well in case any information changes. The owners will also be able to create these offers as meals. These new offerings, which would technically be food that will go to waste, will now feed lots of people. So this offer implements a lot of key features that we think are really important. The name of what meals they're offering, the number of meals, which is super important, start time and end time for when these meals will be available, and most importantly, allergies in case anyone has any. So for example, I'll put in chicken pot pie, and then we'll have 100 meals. And it'll start today at 6 p.m. and it'll end at around 8:30. And we'll say this is not free. So what's great about this app is this, when we hit the create button, it updates in real time. So as you can see over here, chicken pot pie shows up on the business owner's interface, and they'll be able to keep track of all the offers they have.
Also, just to jump in, for David, if you could show the photo, we as Cameron mentioned not too long ago, we wanted to localize the information. So we learned we did the localization information that we found online. So I was able to just make at least one translation. So this would be the Spanish version of the app. So this app will run on whatever the system's language is at. That's the plan for the future ideation. So I just did the Spanish one just for because obviously migrant workers, maybe they don't speak English well. We don't know how long they've been here. So in order for it to be used for everyone who's hungry, really, migrant workers were the target audience, but anyone who's hungry, speaks whatever language, we need them to be included and feel comfortable using this app. So we want to localize this app for whoever needs to. Thanks, David. I believe it's up to Marjet now to close out the user.
You're on mute, Marjet.
Sorry. On the user side, the user is going to be able to, in the future, we were going to want them to be able to filter their food by their allergies or food preferences. And once they see a food that they will, a restaurant that they would like to pick up food, they will click it. And it will take them to the detail where they will ask them to get their location. So Like that, they will be able to see the restaurants or food bank information. They will be able to press the button to get directions, and the claim button, the claim the meal, they will be able to claim up to 2 meals per day. And like that, it will also give them an on time for the restaurant, so they know how many meals they have left to give out. And then it will be, and then we have a resources, which is Christian.
Yeah, so to close it out here, also hand in with again with the migrant portion of the app. These are people who often don't know where to look for help, for any help, and so often they feel alone. And there's a lot of help that they just don't know how to access. So aside from just trying to feed them or getting them to food, we also wanted to offer a long list of resources, whether it's immigration lawyers or we have a there's a National Latin Psychology Association, and there's all of these resources are real and these are real people, and it's just I would like to have more detailed versions of what the resources would offer, and then you can ideally click on a cell, and then I'll send you to their website so you can navigate from there on. And all we want to do is inform people that there's help for them so they don't feel alone, and that's Byte. So thank you very much.
Great job.
Woo!
Great job, everyone.
Awesome, guys.
Yeah.
And now I want to open the floor to the judges to ask the team of Byte any questions about their application.
Please.
I had a question.
Sorry, go ahead.
You go. No. You go ahead.
All right. So I saw that you chose to do a two-factor authentication, which is, first you ask the user to input your phone number, and then the user will then get a message to then input a code, right? I wanted to understand a little bit more about your thought process for choosing to do that.
Cameron, you want to talk on that since that was you? Even though we all get it.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. So, so as you mentioned, that phone. So authentication with phone number is the easiest way we thought to log in for people who, because as we said, our target audience was migrant workers, right? Obviously, we want anyone who is hungry to benefit from this, but often they're undocumented or maybe they have low education levels and they don't have emails, they don't have anything of that sort. So, as long as they have a phone, they can use this resource, and we wanted it to be that simple.
I like that. Thank you.
Just to add on the retrospect, we did that for the user, and for the venue, they have to put in a little more information to be verified, so there wouldn't be any fraudulent, anything. There's more likely to be, trolling or bad energy on that side. So we wanted to. We protected against that with using real addresses. So you can't enter a fake address as a business.
Thank you.
I had a question about, again, on authentication. I'm not sure what it's like in the States, but I know in a lot of places it can be difficult to obtain a phone number without, some form of ID or some residency, which could be a challenge for undocumented migrant workers. In that case, would you consider using something like sign in with Apple to allow them to further protect their identity and allow them to sign up even if they can't actually provide ID to a telco or anyone like that?
Right. So yeah, actually that's pretty cool. I don't think we actually discussed sign in by Apple. Our main priority was to try to have as minimum information as possible to protect the user. Because obviously, I guess, depending on how far Byte goes, this is a grassroots, effort, and we don't have the money or resources to protect it cyberly. And so, if there were any agencies that were after these people, and this, got word of mouth, then we would be easily hacked, and then their information would be compromised easily. So it's kind of like the less we know, the better. It was more so that you could we wanted to create the phone number just so that there could profile would exist of some sort on Firebase. so that they can retain their information for however they use the app. So
Yep.
whatever login credentials that are, you know, bare minimum for everyone, and as many people as we can, with the least amount of information, is the goal for Byte, because we want everyone who needs it to use it without putting their information or themselves at risk.
And the other question I had was not so much about the tech, but more about the rate limiting, stuff like that. You mentioned there being a 2 meal per day limit, and I was wondering how that would scale, especially for perhaps workers with children who they need to feed and stuff like that, in which then it becomes a situation, if it were to remain as 2, of like, well, who gets dinner, who gets, you know, lunch or whatever. And is that a way you would scale it so that, you know, it's 2 meals per person per day, or instead of per account or something like that?
Yeah, I love these questions because we did talk about these. So the reason we decided with 2 was because in the event that you're suggesting, you know, maybe there are kids involved. If the family is big enough, then hopefully there is another phone and someone else who can also update with the phone. So then there could be 2 people, you know, so for like a total of 4 orders in a sense. I guess we're assuming there would be adults kind of, so that might be like a flaw in our work. But it was more so that there would be enough to go around for the people who need it. And I guess just from my personal experience and the people that I know in these situations, a lot of these people came here by themselves from their country to send money back home for their families. They don't typically come here with their families. I guess if the family was created here, that's a different scenario kind of. But you know, I was that's just the reality that I know, that I'm aware of, and that was it. That was the thought process behind it.
All right. Thank you so much, Christian. Thank you so much, Byte. Thank you so much, judges, for your wonderful questions. I have to admit that I did let the time get away from me because I was so interested in the app, and I really liked it. And I really enjoyed the judges' questions. Thank you so much. You did a great job. We're going to go to the next group, and I just want to remind you all that, you know, the presentations are 3 to 4 minutes, and the judges' questions are 1 to 2 minutes. Thank you so much, everyone. And now, without further ado, I'm going to let Together introduce themselves.
Hi. So Together, you could go ahead and start sharing your screen now.
Yes.
Okay.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, we're a team project collaboration, but the app name is called Together. Yeah, the team members, I am Sering Lama. I came to Pursuit to gain more knowledge about tech. Previously, I was a science student, and once I graduate, I'm hoping to land a job in the health tech related area.
Hey everybody, my name is Oscar, and originally I'm from Mexico. Came to the United States when I was very young. Decided to turn to software development because of the passion and the opportunity to make meaningful things for others, and happy to share my apps with you guys.
Juan.
All right, yes, hello, and my name is Juan, and I'm also with Join Pursuit 6.3 iOS with the goal of joining the software development field. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Luba. My background is in nutrition, and I love Pursuit, and I hope to find a job in food tech industry. Thank you. So the problem we're trying to solve with our app is looking for collaborators for your project. Like, for example, you have a great idea, but it's so big that it's too big for one person to accomplish. And especially now when you're home, probably alone or with your family or roommates, they don't want to collaborate on your ideas. And it would be nice to have a way to find people, or yeah, just find collaborators. So yeah, next is
Right, so yep, that's when our app comes in. We called it Together. So basically our app lets professionals that, you know, especially now that are kind of like maybe a bit more bored than they used to be, to look for interesting projects as well as let you share your projects that you can find the right person for the job. And it also has a lot of focus on visuals. So Saren is going to go ahead and pull up the app and show you what we're talking about.
All right, thank you, Juan. So I have 2 phones emulating 2 different users. So we don't have an app icon, so sorry. So on the right, you have John, who recently graduated with a photography degree, specializing in Photoshop and GIMP. On the left, you have Jamie, graduated on fall, having expertise on Swift and Objective-C. And these fees are all the potential projects that are currently being posted. So we posted some dummy data on Firebase just to get the feed going. So let's say Jamie wants to make an app and she wants designers help her app make it look good, have a better UI UX. So she would go on the create post, and then she would pick a category of her project. So since she wants a designer, I'm going to pick art. And she can have a rough estimate of when she wants to start the project. So let's not make it today, make it like 3 days from now. Then she would press this one. And if she has a photo related to their project, she could click here and pick a photo from the photo library. There we go. And then the title could be like really catchy or like important. So she can just say like need designers. And for times purposes, I already have a prompt copied. So I'm just gonna paste this. So it just says, currently working on a fitness app that allows users to stay active in this pandemic, looking for designers that can help me with UI to make a better UX. So once she's happy with her post, she can click add. And it says successfully posted on her end. And when you go to her profile, you can see her project. And right now there are 0 collaborators, which it should be. And then let's say John is using his app on his phone and he wants to find work or just search for cool ideas that might be interested to him. So he can search for like keywords like designers. And John can see Jamie's potential project and he can click on it. He can find more information like her location, her start date, if funds are needed. Right, currently at this stage, there are no funds. And he can read the app description. If he likes it, he can either collaborate or donate. Right now, the donate button only shows a view that says, thank you for your donation. But that's one of the future implementations. But if he really likes the project and wants to collaborate, he can press the collaborate button and click collaborate. And then it would say success on his phone, but then Jamie would get a notification saying you have John as a collaborator now. So this is basically the flow of our app. And I'm gonna let Oscar talk about future implementations.
Okay, so for future implementations, we actually have a lot of ideas that we wanted to get in the app, but due to time constraints, we weren't able to. One of the main ones is to add a categories collection view to make search easier, as well as messaging options so people can chat inside the app, and implement a donation option for projects that might need financial help, and also make the app international, meaning it will support different languages and countries.
All right, thank you for listening. That's our app, and I would like to open the floor for any questions.
Woo! 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 Woo!
Very nice, very nice.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd like to thank Saren for doing my job.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to take over.
Concurrency, yeah.
My bad, Aaron.
That's how good the app is. Aaron does it all.
I thought you were still at Pursue, my
bad.
Okay, and with that, I'd like to open the floor to questions from the judges for this wonderful app. Really amazing. All right, judges, take it away.
Yeah, so I really like the use of images. I think it brings the even the prototype of the app to life. I think it just makes it look a lot more fleshed out. So I really like that. I had a question kind of on, maybe how you think you could get different types of users onto the app. So for example, if someone is looking for work, they would post on the app, but if someone is wanting to work and they wanted some form of compensation, would that kind of be inbuilt into the app, or how would you kind of think about that?
Oh yeah, so that was one of the questions that came up during ideation about like, would people be willing to work for free? Because that was one of the big questions. And we're going to use this app as like a platform. So let's say you do want to work on with a collaborator, and then yes, that was one of like, that's why we have the donate button, I guess, in case they want compensation. But if they don't want, I guess they can probably refer them, because this app was targeted towards like expertise. And then yeah, I guess yeah, to be
Yeah, I think
yeah.
it's more targeted to like collaboration without compensation, but with option of, you know, if the project needs budget to get done, then, you know, there is option for that. Or like, you know, maybe you can work together on something that you can sell after, that you can monetize after together, like more kind of this way, the idea, but I don't know, maybe it will change.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
I really like this idea of collaborating with people, especially during this time. I was wondering if you thought about a certain section of the user base or a certain use case that you began with, and then started thinking about some of the other things that people could collaborate on. And the other thing that I wanted to ask was what the stickiest part of implementation was, or where you got to spend the most time.
So I guess Firebase was pretty tricky. Just sending data up and getting the collaborators assigned to the right project with the right users and the right post. So that took a while. Sorry, what was your last question? Sorry, your next question.
The one before that was,
sorry.
did you begin with a certain use case or a certain kind of collaboration in mind, and then started building out from there, or was it more of a generic use case for different kinds of collaboration? I'm asking because that would help with like a second version of doing filtering or tagging, which makes sorting and recommendations a lot easier.
Yeah, right. So
I can talk about that a little bit. So basically, we saw that a lot of these forums that are out there are like for apps that we people have ideas and they just post their forums. They're not really visually like striking, like it doesn't catch the attention of the user. So we thought like we really were thinking about like app development from the very beginning, and then we just kind of decided like this doesn't have to be for app development. This could be for many more things, right? And yeah, that was basically it.
That's helpful. Thank you.
I have a really quick question. As is with any system that allows people to upload content, especially images, and have it be viewed by everyone else, every system like that at some point is going to be abused by somebody. Have you thought about ways of filtering or reporting content that gets posted?
So yeah, one of our mentors did mention about having a flag, like a flagging feature in our app, but through time constraints, you couldn't really do that. So I guess if there was inappropriate pictures or comments, I guess some other users can flag the project saying not appropriate or not, not user-friendly or not collaboratable. But that idea did come across our mind, but due to time constraint, we couldn't really be able to implement it.
Yep. Okay, cool.
All right. Great job together. Really great job. Thank you so much to the judges for all your questions. We're going to go on to the next team. Take me home. Right now, I'm home already, but take me home. Take it away.
Boo this man. Boo.
Woo! So go ahead and share your screen, whoever is presenting for Take Me Home.
It's not letting me. It's saying you cannot share screen while other.
Because somebody's holding you hostage, which is me. Now you're good to go.
Okay. So hi, my name is Tiffany Obi. Our group name and our app name is Take Me Home. Before Pursuit, I taught pre-K for 4 years, and I loved teaching, but I decided, or I realized that I wanted to teach more than just 30 kids in a classroom at one time. I wanted to be able to reach hundreds and thousands of millions of students at once, and I can do that with technology. And so that is why I am here at Pursuit, to learn how to reach our future.
Okay, and my name is Tanya. Before Pursuit, I was an administrative assistant. I have, before Pursuit, I didn't have any coding experience, but at this time I'm able to code, program, collaborate on a hackathon. And my goal is to impact, I like to help and improve society and volunteer. And I feel like I could reach more people with the apps that I create.
Hey, my name is Eddie. Before Pursuit, I was working as operation manager in a startup company, and the reason I wanted to move into the tech industry, more in the software engineering side, is because hardware, or hardware related stuff, or some kind of operation stuff, was really like a lot of time you didn't have control. So I wanted to get into the software engineering side, which you have a lot of not everything, but you have more control of what you're doing. And yeah, it's like a general problem for me was really fun for me, so that's why I joined Pursuit.
Okay, so the problem that we are trying to solve, oftentimes people who have loved ones that they take care of have to go to work, and they leave their loved ones at home, especially those that are suffering from mental illness or from such as dementia or autism. There are people that are fully functioning that also suffer from those mental illnesses that often want like a panic button, something that you can use to navigate you straight to home from wherever you are if you're lost, or those who should be in the house but they think they're not supposed to be in the house, so they leave. So like they have some navigation that follows them, and also gives the guardian an opportunity to watch them, or somebody that just wants to have a portable panic button. I'm a little nervous, so I feel like I just chatted, but it's okay. We're gonna go to the next slide.
And so the solution we came up with is our app, Take Me Home. It gives the user turn-by-turn navigation to find their way home, whether they wandered off and got lost, or if also we have an option where you can sign up into the app and you can initiate a guardian. The guardian would be able to track the user that signs up along with them. If they leave home, if they leave more than 100 meters from their home, the app will send a notification to the guardian. But also it's just simply where the user can find a way directly to get back home. We also have other things that allow them to call 911. So let's just go into the app and look into those.
Okay, so this is the home screen of the app. Before this step, there is we're using Firebase to track the user's login information, those stuff. But for time constraint, I just want to cut that out. So the user, if the user is supervised, that user, the guardian will be logging into the same account. And this is in this case, like if they say yes to the guardian, that the guardian exists. When they go to the settings, which will have access to the stuff, it's going to ask them to type in a pin. The purpose of this is to avoid from the supervised user to actually accidentally get into the settings and mess around with the address sort of stuff.
Okay, so this is the settings. This is on what would be a supervised user. This would be their guardian's view because they have a guardian. So this app allows two people to be signed into the same app, where there are some slight differentiations. If it is the user, like a guarded user version, or if this in that state, then settings is not accessible to them. But if it's in the guardian state, then settings is accessible to update their information. If they are not a user that has a guardian, then guardian is inactive, and this is just information that's updated if ever they are in danger. It can be on them, or they can use this information to get their locations easily.
Okay, so that takes us back to this initial user view here. We kept it really simple because we wanted anyone to be able to use it, whether it's an elderly person or a very young child. It's simply take me home, need help. We're gonna get right into the get location tab button there. Yeah. So get location, it's for that button there specifically is more for the guardian. If they want to know where the user that they're signed up with is, their current location, they could just tap that button, and we use the map kit to be able to access the user's location. Now we'll go back to the app. Here we could go to the Take Me Home feature. In Take Me Home, it opens up guided step-by-step directions from the person's location, which is the blue dot, to the home that is set from the information that is provided in settings. And it'll give them turn-by-turn navigation. We use Apple's own map to, we integrated that into our app. Okay, and the need help feature here. It's just that if they need help, if they're just lost and a little disoriented, they could call 911. If you press the button, it'll call 911. If not, you can dial your guardian. It'll pop up the phone and dial the guardian. And also, if they just need help, they're asking a police officer for some type of direction, their guardian's number, phone, address, and picture is in there for them to access. Okay, let's go back. And at this point,
that is, yeah. Oh, yeah. So let's say we are in the Guardian, because there are different states. So if we're in the Guardian state of the app and a user has left the location that they're supposed to be in, then we get a notification. This is the display name of this user. So it tells us that, supervised TIF, like this is somebody that's supervised, is now 100 feet away. So once you click on the notification, it would take you to this home screen, and that's where you would get their location, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes. Okay. And we'll take it to future implementations.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to the future implementation. So for the update user profile, this is something with time constraint. We couldn't really update the user profile picture. So we definitely want to add it in. And also like in the call the 911 and call the Guardian, we didn't have, we couldn't, we have time to like figure out how to pass the phone number into the actual call app. So that I definitely want to add that in too. And also like it's navigation when they're like when they hit the Take Me Home. We would love to do more like 3D navigation. So whenever they actually, it's going to look like more like a street view in the app, so they can easily like navigate which direction they're supposed to go. And also like we want to do Apple Watch integration. So like if the Guardian gets notification, they can easily see like easily check the notification on their watch. Yeah, and I think that's it. That's all for our app.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh, come on! Oh, those are my kids!
So much Take Me Home. I'm sure the judges have a lot of questions for you, and I'm definitely super proud of this application. You should be so proud of yourselves. Great job with your presentation and being able to present a really wonderful, useful UI. Judges, take it away.
Is there a multi-user use case? I'm thinking of the use case where a parent, for example, multiple children and to be able to track them individually, or is that part of a future implementation?
So the way we think is like, so each user, so like I think that's possible because each user will have their own email address. So if you create an account for each children, the parents can just like log into under their account and just track their location like if they want to. It's like the reason I didn't make add someone else's like address into the location was because like we were using someone else's like personal location, and we don't want it to like security wise, like we don't want it to like someone else to just accidentally log in and be tracked for someone else. So I wanted to like limited access, like the only person logging in with this account is the person like have access to their location.
And how does this person who is being tracked choose whether or not they want someone to be the guardian, or is it the guardian's responsibility to have access to this person's phone?
Sorry, you can go.
Okay, well that is covered when you initially, one of the things that we have is that when you initially sign into the app, you can toggle whether or not, the first question that it asks is, do you have a associated guardian? If you hit yes, then it would have the setup for the guardian and the user. If you hit no, it would just be for that person alone. And guardian can also be toggled on and off.
Cool. That makes sense.
All right. We have time for one more question, judges.
I was just going to ask whether the Guardian functionality. So you have like two different phones. One can track the other. Is that Guardian functionality finished, worked on? I'm not sure if maybe I missed that.
The Guardian functionality is not completely finished, but the idea of it, because I wish we had time to like do the two simulators, like to show because there are really three different ways to approach this app. You can approach the app as a user that is not that doesn't have a guardian, but can suffer from autism or dementia or mental health illness, or they're just an older person that likes to have a panic button, just a button that they press that shows them the fastest way to get home that's already in there for them once they do it the first time. Or you can have somebody that has a guardian and they're supposed to be home, but they wander away from home sometimes, or somebody is a guardian of that person that may wander away from home. And so those are three different ways to approach the app and three different ways that the app will function and respond. So each way is set up, but it was just hard to show you each way at the same time. So the guardian has full control of the app, just as a user without a guardian would have full control of the app. However, a user of the app that has a guardian would not be able to access settings to change address or to turn off guardian, things like that, if they do want to leave home. And I guess some of it we also kind of put in user responsibility. I'm not sure if that's the best thing to say, only because I know we shouldn't assume, so I won't use that word, but one can think that a user that has a guardian, it would be made at the same time, because the guardian would more than likely be creating the app for the user, or at least signing up, and then the user would be using it, if that makes sense.
And also the functionality for the map, like the zones, like once they leave 100 feet, once it hits on 101, that it's there, the message would get sent, the app would start to monitor the location of the user. So there's certain functionality already started implemented.
And sorry, I know we only have one more question. I'll ask a really quick one. Since the user can't turn off Guardian functionality, what are you thinking of doing in the case that they just go into settings and turn off like location access or something like that? So a way to get around it.
So that's why we added a PIN. So whenever you originally sign up, if you say you have a guardian, it's going to ask you to like create a PIN. So the user, like the guard, yes. So like
I mean in like iOS settings, like for the app itself, in like just like turning off location on your phone, that would.
Yes, actually, to be honest, we actually completely didn't think about that part, but
it would have come up if there were more than 2 days.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, perhaps then in those scenarios you could think of alerting the guardian to say, the location's been turned off. Here's the last known thing.
That would definitely be a future implementation.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for presenting. Great job, team. And now we're going to go to the next application. All right, find your peers. This team is going to present a great app. I've seen it myself. It's really nice and it's a really great idea. And I'm going to let Find Your Peers take it away.
No favorites, MC. No favorites.
Hey! I saw the app already. What can I do?
He funded them.
But I've loved all of them. If you all set up a separate GoFundMe, I will donate a certain amount of money to each one of them. All right.
All right. Go ahead. Find your peers. Go ahead and share.
Hi, we are Team Peer Finder. I'm Cassandra. The reason why I wanted to go to Pursuit was I wanted a career change. I went from art to software development just because I knew that the creativity was in both. Next we have Yulia.
Hi everyone, my name is Julia. I'm changing career as well. I want to find career in healthcare IT and iOS development. I feel like it's the most direct path to that, to my targets.
Hi, my name is Howard, and I joined Pursuit because every industry is evolving and has some tech involved or will in the future, and I'm here to add salt to that to spice up the world.
Hi, I'm Maitri. I wanted to get into the tech space because I realized as I was growing up that I was spending most of my time on the computer anyway, so why not make a career out of it? So I joined Pursuit and I'm on track to become a software developer. And I will hand it off to Cassandra.
So the problem that we found was when students first enter college or any school actually, they have a hard time connecting with other students. It's very different from going to high school, so it's very hard for them to connect, and a lot of them don't even live on campus, so they don't really have a chance to meet other students outside of the classroom. So the solution would, and they also have declining mental health if they're isolated, and that could easily affect their studies. So the solution is
Will be Peer Finder. We're bringing students together. So this app will bring students together because you could search for clubs, study groups, or events within your school. When you first log in, well, it'll be a sign up and log in with the app, and you will sign up with your EDU email address, and then you will pick your school and you'll be logged into there. So you could either search for a group or you could create one yourself, and then everyone could have an excuse to meet with each other. And now we will actually hear a story and see the app in action from an actual user. Take it away, Antonio.
Hi everyone, you may be surprised, my name is Antonio. And I'm fresh students in the college, and I don't know a lot of peers, but I would like, I heard about this awesome app which calls Peer Finder, and I started to use that. As you can see on my simulator on my screen, that I have my groups. So my groups is basically the groups where favorited. It consists of different study groups, or clubs or events if there's exist. Right now, for example, I'm interested in travel club, which I think I have meeting today. So let me check what's going on in this category, and let's say, oh yeah, I will come for meeting at 8 p.m. today. But I think I may be late, and I wanted to find my friends about this. Oh, okay, so, okay, I need to fill in this comment field. I will be late. So now I'll let know my new friends that I will be late for this meeting. But I don't think so. I have a lot of groups in my favorite tab, so I'm going to look for other groups maybe I should join. I have flower group, not really interested, but why? Why don't I just create my own group? So I need to choose a picture for my group, and what would we be? I need something fun to relax today. Why don't we be create rubber duck club? So I'm typing rubber duck club, and topic will be definitely fun. We love funny things. But look, maybe rubber ducks, it's not as interesting. Why don't I change this for some different club? And I have this funny pig. Why don't you create club about this funny pig? So I now change just rubber duck to the pig club, and we're ready to go. Now I can see that we have pig club. Wonderful. But it's time to get serious. In this like coronavirus time, I decided to unclutter, and I find a lot of like unused study books on my shelves. So I would like basically to sell them and to get some money. So I will plan to choose picture for items I plan to sell. I think it will be my GMAT books. I didn't use them for so long time. So I basically entered the name is GMAT books. The price for that will be 50. I use the markers like as use, and description is simple. Books for GMAT test. And we see that we can see my item already in the marketplace. But also I have like wish list that already mark some items. And on my wish list, I have used textbooks, and it's wonderful because I'm a little bit bored right now, and it will be nice to read some books. So I think the price is acceptable for me because I have like so many books to get. I need to contact seller. And I have two options. I can email them, but why would I email them? I think like text is faster. So I just text the seller just to get faster reply. And I will say like, hi, I'm interested to buy these books. So I'm basically texted to the seller and let them know that I'm interested to purchase those books. And hopefully I will get reply back. So this is like my app, which I'm using right now. And I know the developers plan to present more future implementation for this app. And let's go to that part, please.
I just replied back.
Yes, so we see that we just are presenting the money.
Oh, man.
Okay, so future implementations. We plan on getting real users and connecting them with their own schools. We also would like to implement an in-app messaging system and connect user to seller for marketplace. We would also like to add voice messaging for chat and groups for those people that are maybe differently abled or something like that. And we would like to add email attachments and notification center. Yeah, that's our app. Thank you.
That's our app.
Solid UI, solid UI.
I love it. I love it. That was great. That was amazing.
I want that app now. Can I get it?
Thank you.
Tech App Store in a month.
Good job, everyone. This is
Absolutely.
amazing. All right, I'm going to open the floor to the judges, and please go ahead with your questions.
I'm actually kind of stumped on a question, and I think that's actually a testament to PeerFinder that you answered all the questions as I was going along. You answered all of them. No, I don't think I have a question. I just think I wanted to say I really like that one.
Thank you.
Thank
that means
you.
a lot.
Really, lots of words, lots of questions.
I'm speechless.
From someone who got a scholarship to WWDC.
Oh man, great.
That was really great. I was wondering if there's a component to making a closed community, given that it's for a college campus, and how you're going to deal with maybe authentication that's only limited to a certain.
We were thinking about that in the ideation section, that maybe they would be connected to the app with their college email address, just because it would be that edu handle or some kind of education handle.
Yeah, so they only have one email, and then if they get banned, they can't create another account.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I feel like, you know, in just 3 days, you've built like basically Facebook, but so much more intimate, right? It's like for a
More
niche
private,
community.
more private.
Sorry? Yeah, so I think you did a really good job. You thought about like so many different use cases too. Like when you opened up the marketplace, I was like, oh wow, like you even thought about that aspect of it, right? So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Woo!
Any further questions, judges? Or are you all stumped as well?
I mean, I want to have a question. Yeah, I don't know. Because one of my questions was like authentication. You see, you have EDU emails, and then it's got nothing.
Awesome.
All right, great job, everyone. Thank you, judges, for your questions. And now everybody eats. Take it away.
It's us.
Oh, yeah. Just one sec. Sorry.
Go ahead and share whenever you're ready.
Yeah, apologies.
Ooh, I love the in sync backgrounds.
Thank you.
My bad. Could someone share me the present? Got it. Never mind. Okay. So, does everyone see the screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Cool. So, welcome to our app. My name is Ahad Islam. The reason why I came to Pursuit is because I was working as an Uber ride-share driver in the rideshare industry, as well as Lyft and Postmates. I've also worked as a freelance lighting ops, and I found that software development was something I was really into, and I wanted to look forward into a career in tech in a space that was growing. So that's why I came to Pursuit.
Hi, I'm Matthew Ramos. I was working in the food industry for a couple of jobs when an alumni of Pursuit actually recommended that I apply here. I dabbled in Python for a little bit, and I took a liking to coding, and I'm pretty passionate about it now, and I'm looking forward to being an iOS developer.
Hi, my name is Jahid Haynes. I worked in healthcare for almost a decade, but my real passion was always like in tech and design. So once I found out about Pursuit, it was a no-brainer at that point.
Hi everyone, my name is Chelsea. Before Pursuit, the vast majority of my professional experience was in the food industry. And I was excited about the program and decided to join because I wanted to learn a challenging skill that would make me a better asset for my community and hopefully create something that helps foster connection. Yeah.
And our app is Everybody Eats.
Everybody eats.
Everybody eats.
Awesome. So on our next slide, we have the
Okay,
problem.
so we have a problem. An overlooked fact is that over 30 million Americans suffer from foodborne allergens. That's roughly like 10% of our population. And our aim is to help build and create communities that revolve around our users' specific food allergy.
And for solution,
So like Jahid said, Everybody Eats aims to connect users with similar food restrictions. So with the app, users are able to not only create posts and share posts with other users, they're also able to share and create events so that they can find places, venues, dining experiences that accommodate their allergies.
Yeah, as an example user experience, John has a severe peanut allergy. He wants to go out and be social and eat with friends and coworkers, but they're not always accommodating and they don't always understand his specific restrictions. So he downloads Everybody Eats. He's able to filter events and posts based off his specific allergy. After going to an event, he's able to enjoy his meal without worry, and he's able to form connections with other people who can emphasize with the same sort of issues that he has. Eventually, he joins the community himself, and he's able to participate by making his own posts and his own events.
Yeah, so I want to go over the future implementations for this project before we dive into it. One, we'd like to implement location sharing to enhance the user experience for events and posts, being able to comment on other users' posts as well, following other users' profiles, also creating a filtering through the feed and events for specific allergens. So like if you have a peanut allergy, you'd look for some like allergy-free posts, like people talking about it or events about that. Support tickets, so like because ours is similar to most content sharing platforms, there's always going to be bad actors, so there would be a way to moderate posts and events, and also listing allergy safe restaurants as well to better enhance the user experience and I guess to help everyone out. So with that, I like to run the project. Over here, we have a little splash screen brought to you by Jahid. And in this project, in this app, our main view is the feed view. So this is where you can see everyone's, all the users' posts inside the app. Usually it's given an image as well as a caption. Most of the time it's going to be talking about allergy related, but users are free to post whatever they want. And over here we can see Jahid post an allergy-free leaf and other pictures of nature. So I'm going to go ahead and create a post as well. I'm going to go ahead and upload an image. I guess just takes a second. Over here, I have a really delicious, gluten-free cake. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in gluten-free brownie in my caption, and I can go ahead and press share. So once that's done, going through Firebase, we'll go through the event controller. So over here, this is kind of a work in progress, but through the events, if you clicked on any of the cells, it would bring you a detailed page that basically showed who created the event, where the location is, and what time it starts, as well as and a map view to show where it takes place visually. You're also able to create one as well. You could give it an image as well as a description of the event, the name of it, and location, time, and date. With that, we have our favorites. And what favorites is essentially any of the favorite posts or events will come up over here that you liked essentially. And if you notice on the corner of the cell, if you click on it, you can unfavorite it. But what those images are relate to the allergies. So the allergies that you might have tagged in future implementations. So I can go ahead and unfavorite this one because I don't know why Jahid likes leaves that much, and it disappears. I can go to my profile, and over here, everyone will be able to see my profile view. They can see my name, city, a little bit about my bio, as well as an allergy. For now, I'm okay with this image, but let's go ahead and update that. So I'll use the photo library again. And maybe I'll use my little sister because that's just fun. And now for edit profile, I can also change all the fields using that was there. So maybe I want to change my bio into something a little bit more descriptive. So maybe iOS developer, even though that's probably what I put before, with the peanut allergy. As well as for allergies, I'll probably make sure this is peanuts and go ahead and save it. And it updates right there. So let's go back to the feed view for 1 second. And over here, we'll see that it's updated with the gluten-free brownie, one of the posts I made. I can go ahead and like that because I like liking my own posts. Over here, Jahid made a post with my image for some reason. I'll also like that. And maybe I'll check out on Jahid's profile by clicking on the handler. And over here, we have a simple profile view of Jahid with his city, an bio, and his allergies as well. And that's about it. And if we go back to our favorites, actually, we can see that I've liked my own post, and I'm the only one who likes it. That's fine. And that's it for our app.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
All right, great.
Questions.
So now we're going to jump over to the questions. Judges, please. Can I just say I really love the fact that you could hover over Jahid's tag and just see like their profile and their allergies. That was a really great idea.
Thank you. That was Jahid's idea.
Okay, my question is, you mentioned wanting to list allergy safe like restaurants and stuff. How do you verify that a place is allergy safe? Like you call up and they'll say yes, but places change depending on who's working, stuff like that. And then I suppose the next big thing or potential liability would be, say you recommend a restaurant, someone goes there and the food handling is not as great as you'd think, and someone has an allergic reaction based off a recommendation stemming from your app. How have you thought about tackling those kind of issues?
Well, for
Okay. Yeah.
No, sorry. Do you want to? So that was pretty low in terms of our things that we'd like to add on in terms of future implementation, because I don't think that was never like the core focus of the app. More like something that I think people come to expect from food apps in general is like navigation to local places that they can consume food relevant. Getting like an API or even just getting like that sort of validation from the restaurant or like that kind of level of assurance is something that's ambitious, but like would be cool. So it's pretty low in terms of our like things that we wanted to implement, and that's why it didn't appear in the actual app. It's just something that we would like to apply.
He did also discuss the potential of not reporting, but basically like verification from other users, like in the future, where they'd be able to fact check it and then send to, again, we don't have like a giant company and so on and so forth, but sending it to us, and then we'd be able to verify it ourselves and then remove it if need be. Yeah, in that way.
Actually, if I could add on to everyone's answer, sorry. Another idea that was kind of floating was that this app would also primarily target products that are trying to do alternatives to main foods. For example, I'm allergic to peanuts, right? So maybe a competitor who's trying to go into that, who's trying to provide peanut-free alternatives like almond butter or something like that, would like to be added to that app. So we could essentially sponsor, they could essentially have sponsored content over the feed, maybe showing like a recipe or two that could be used with their product. And that would generally help anyone, like users who are looking for allergy-free recipes. I mean, essentially like peanut-free recipes or gluten-free recipes and stuff like that.
I wanted to ask, have you thought about where you think you could, start finding users, for example? So maybe there's already communities out there, how you could like get the app in their hands.
I currently live in downtown Brooklyn, and almost every kid around here is allergic to gluten. So the base is pretty vast at this point. And the community around food right now is like very niche. Like people are very particular about what they eat. So we all figured an app like this is very apropos for nowadays.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there also thought to how to detect these allergies versus what to do when there is an allergic reaction, for example, with that?
far as the medical part of it, like that we wouldn't delve into that. There would be a very lengthy disclaimer when signing up to our app that we are not like nutritionists or doctors. So like proceed with that understanding.
All right, and we have time for one more question. All right, if not, we'll wrap it up here. All right, thank you so much, judges. Thank you so much, Everybody Eats. Great job. Again, another time, congratulations, Cap. So fair and square, let's go.
Just bear with me a second, sorry.
I love the background.
Thank you. Okay, welcome to our app. It's Fair and Square. And let me introduce our team members. My name is Lilia, and I am a 6.3 cohort member, and I'm learning Swift for the first time. I don't have any technical background.
Hi, my name is Shania, and before Pursuit, I was pursuing a computer science degree, and thankfully I found Pursuit, which allows me to continue to develop those skills at a much more affordable price.
Hello, I'm Bienvenido, and I joined Pursuit to get a foothold in the software development industry.
And I'm Gregory Keeley. I'm here to bring my passion for tech to the next level and contribute my skills to the greater good. So that actually kind of brings us to the problem. We kind of found that in the marketplace, there are a lot of companies making an impact on the world, and there may not be any one in particular source to understand what that impact might actually be. So with that, the problem is the user can't find a source of companies and that actual impact and assign it a value so that they can make a better informed shopping decision.
And with that leads to our solution. So we created a conscious shopping guide. And with the 5 categories of people, politics, animals, environment, and sustainability in mind, we created a rating system to score the companies to determine how fair and square they truly are. In addition to this, with this app, we hope to allow companies that want to do some good an opportunity to actually shine and show what they can do and show what opportunities they provide. And with that, we're going to demo our app.
Okay. So here we have the landing page for the app, and the goal is to allow the user to find out more about the company and to be able to search for any given company. So I'll go ahead and I'll just make a general search here. And here we can see we've already got a couple of companies, but you know what, maybe I want to search for something more specific. So let me look for eco. All right, awesome. So I found my result, and once I actually go into it, I'm going to be able to see more about this company. So whether it's details about what the company is, it's also going to give the user a chance to get some information at a glance, including some of those categories we were referring to earlier and their kind of impact. We also allow them to see an alert that they can just kind of get that information at a glance and find out more. But maybe the user wants to make a decision based on some of the news that the company has been part of. So from here, we actually allow the user to search through these news articles, and then they can find out more information, and they can make these decisions on their own. So going back from there, it's maybe not enough to look up a company once, so we want to give the user some options. So from here, we actually have the ability to share the company with friends and family so that they can have an idea of what's actually going on. Or possibly, they can even watch the company and then keep track of them over time. So I'm going to go ahead and watch a company, and then I'm going to go over to the watch list here, and where I've already watched a few companies, and again, we get some information at a glance. And you know what? Maybe I don't like eCover, and it's time to stop watching them. So I'm actually just going to get rid of them from my app right there. And from here, we go back to the presentation. And this is where we can start talking about some of the future implementations and the tech side of things.
And this actually brings us to our technical side.
All right. Concerned that we didn't have any public APIs available that provide ethical rating for businesses that offer products for sale, we had to develop our own database of companies that contain a general ethical rating score depending on how well they score in their individual category rating. And I'd like to pass it off regarding future implements of this app.
The future implementations, obviously our app is basically near to perfect, but we still think there are still maybe some improvements that we can make. Some of them would be, is that a user would not only be able to look up a company, but also be able to look up a product itself. And maybe you are shopping, you're somewhere in the store, you really want to buy something right then and there. So we would like to, in the future, implement a barcode scanner where you can just scan a barcode of any product and find out their background information. Also, let's say you've been using something for a while and you've developed a strong opinion about something and you really want to share it with all the other users of this app. And we would like to implement a feature where you can leave a comment about a company or a product where you could share some of those experiences that you've had. Also, we would, another feature we would like to potentially implement is to allow a user to fill out an application to expand our database for a company that maybe they would like for us to have and we still don't have. And then in the end of the day, just simplify everything and just make the full use of this app. We would like a user to be able to buy something right directly from our app by just clicking the buy button and just by choosing the product, researching it, and being able to buy it directly from our app. Thank you for your time.
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo! Woo! Good job, everyone.
Good job. Good job.
And like Chelsea said, really great UI. All right, judges, any questions for Fair and Square?
Yeah, I had one. So you talked a little bit about the tech for the for the ethical reviews. I wanted to learn a little bit more about kind of the tech behind the articles. So the example that you pulled out was a New York Times article. Are all the articles New York Times articles, or do you kind of pull from different sources? How do you pull them? Is it like only the most recent? Is it kind of like all-time articles? Yeah.
So they all are New York Times articles because we did use the New York Times API. We did have limited time, so we didn't have a chance to actually further develop it. But in the future, I believe it'd be actually very useful to have different sources, not just one source, but multiple recent sources would be actually a perfect way of displaying the information.
Thank you.
Well, okay, my question just got stolen, so I'll try and expand on it. You know, when you bring in multiple sources, how do you deal with things like news bias and ensuring that your users get a, you know, really get a good representation of the company through various news sources? Because if you pick, say, exclusively left-leaning or exclusively right-leaning, you're going to get, you know, bias that's going to shine through. So how do you choose which sources to use?
I think it's actually up to user to decide which sources, because like if you present them the variety, let's say if you Google any topic, it gives you a variety of sources and you kind of as a user choose to go to one or another. And I think it'd be up to users to decide to which one they would want to go to. I think that would be the most objective way to go about this.
Cool.
All right, any more questions? So without further ado, we're gonna have our last team, Volo. Please come to the stage and present us your beautiful app. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for attending. And thank you, Volo, for choosing to go last.
Unwillingly. Can someone get off so I can share?
Hello, everybody.
What's going on, Eric?
Hello, everyone. We are Volo. To introduce us, my name is Amani. I have an undergrad in bioinformatics, and I joined Pursuit because I needed to learn more about software engineering to go any further in my career.
Hi, I'm Kelby. Before Pursuit, I was working as a lab assistant, so I'm just grateful for the opportunity that Pursuit is giving me to follow my passion for coding.
Hello, everybody. I'm Eric. Before this, I was in shipping, doing something I didn't want to do, and I'm here at Pursuit so I can get closer to my goal.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Brendan. Before this, I was studying art and design, but now I joined Pursuit to learn how to express my creativity through code. So a problem that we've noticed due to the current circumstances is that hospitals and organizations are slowly, they require more workers, they require more help for the amount of cases they're getting. So and here's our response from Eric.
So for the most part, that's when Volo comes in. We believe as a group that the best way to deliver opportunities for people that would like to volunteer and to reach out to the organization will be through Volo. Let us show you the app so you can understand what we're saying.
So for our app Volo, a user would typically either create an account as a volunteer or a recruiter, but we've already created an accounts for both to demo our project. So we're just gonna go to sign in, and we are gonna sign in. So this is now my account. I am a volunteer looking for some opportunities to volunteer. These are organizations that are looking for volunteers. I have the option to click on the potential volunteering opportunity, find some details on it, more details, and the location. I can save and view my saved here. These are all the saved ones, maybe save them for later, or I can initialize a conversation between me and a organization, basically letting them know that I do want to help. And just by simply clicking here, I can confirm by clicking OK. So to go to the recruiter or the organization's side of it, 1 second. So this is a recruiter for New York Cares. These are all of their postings for possible opportunities to look, basically all the opportunities that they're looking for volunteers for. If the recruiter clicks on here, they'll see all of the volunteers that are looking or interested in working here, or working for that volunteering opportunity. So for example, I'm here, I'm listed as Amani. If I click on here, as a recruiter, they can see my information, hopefully more information later on. And then they can, if they find their information is something that they're looking to continue with this volunteer, they could message the volunteer and tell them, hello. Oh. So yeah, so then you can send, and then this now user, which is me, will now have.
Like on my list is my hierarchy list is like Black girls, Latinas, and Asians.
Okay.
Right? What?
Wait.
That's a good question.
Okay.
So to continue, this is now a conversation between between a volunteer and an organization that's looking. So, hi, and this can continue. And they can send them some information, let them know how they can move forward. The recruiter can also make a post, create a new post. So, for example, hackathon. Did I spell that wrong? Oh. Okay. So, but yeah, so if they create a post, they can click submit, and then it will populate right here for them. As for future implementations, I will move that forward.
Yeah, so for our future implementations, we definitely wanted to go a little further as far as populating a list of all possible opportunities. Actually, Eric had reached out to Volunteer Match, which actually says they have a pretty good API. Unfortunately, they couldn't meet with us until late yesterday, so we kind of had to toss that idea out the window. But yeah, so if we had that API, we would then be able to incorporate more of MapKit, where they would be able to, you know, sort the volunteer opportunities by what was closest to them. And then we would also want to incorporate like a verification process for the volunteers and the organization. And that is our app.
Woo!
I don't want to take your
That was so gorgeous.
That was the last, but certainly not least group. Thank you so much for your presentations, everyone. And judges, please come forward with any questions you have for Volo.
Or should I continue sharing? Oh, nope, okay.
I was wondering if there's a component of it that deals with syncing calendars and times that are available for different people.
Yeah, that was definitely something we would want to implement in the future, where like the volunteer would then, you know, they would have like a settings page where they could say their availabilities. And if we had an API, I'm sure the volunteer opportunities would have times.
Yeah, so we were actually hoping on incorporating that in terms of like a possible volunteer would set some times that they are available, and when the profile, which would have hopefully more information, it would present to them if based on the time that they applied for, or the position that they applied for, it would let them know if this person is actually available. Then if not, then, you know, they would move on. It could also even notify the user, hey, this opportunity is outside of the scope of your availability, so maybe find something else.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions, judges?
How would people go about finding this app?
One way I think we were possibly thinking is, I don't know about all of you, but I think all of us maybe miss the subway a little bit. And maybe one thing we don't miss about it is making feel like we're not as altruistic as we could be by the Nature Conservancy and World Wildlife Foundation, you know, asking for credit card information. So maybe if they were just directed towards this app, then another feature of our app would have like a news feed or something that brings awareness to different volunteer opportunities.
All right. Without further questions, I'm going to go ahead to the next section, which is the judge deliberation. So this section of the hackathon will take about 15 to 20 minutes for the judges to deliberate on the 3 grand prize winners. And in that time, we're going to conduct breakout rooms with each of the applications for any other people who are attending the hackathon who want to ask the groups any personal questions or any questions about the application that they weren't able to ask during the judges' questions. So I'm going to let Alex take it from here.
Awesome. Again, thank you everybody for attending our first virtual hackathon. So we'll have 20 minutes, as Aaron said, for judge deliberation. I'm actually going to pause here and have that happen, and then we'll continue on. Judges, there should be 3 notifications going out to you. So Will, do you see a confirmation saying join the room? Will? Okay, I think they just did, right? Okay, so now that continues on. So for the next 20 minutes, the floor is open for questions. We'll go in the order of presentations. So feel free to jump in and ask each group questions from the audience. How was the app? How was it challenging to work over 2 days to develop? How was sleep? What were the wins? Like what you guys enjoyed about working on the project? Given more time, what would you implement on it? Do you have future plans of taking it to the App Store? So all those questions are fair game. So for like the next 20 minutes or so, the floor is open to the audience. So I'll go first with Byte. Any questions? We're also monitoring chat, so feel free to pop the question in chat and we will go ahead and pose the question to the teams accordingly. Question for Byte. What was the most challenging part of the application, building it over 2 days?
I guess I'll start. I guess everyone's hardest part was different. I guess the hardest part was deciding how we wanted to tackle the app, how we wanted the both experiences to talk to each other, because it's imperative that they talk to each other in real time, from the vendor to the users. But we were very open with our discussion. We had we expressed our concerns, and we ultimately decided to get the information on Firebase. And the hardest part is actually what I'm most proud of really is how much we were able to talk candidly to each other about what we agreed and what we disagreed on, and all for the betterment of the app. Because there were times where each one of us were like told no, or not told no, but like we're given alternatives to figuring things out. And I really feel like that reflected in our app with how proud we are of it because of we all created it together, really.
That's a good point, right? So as like the creation part, how did you guys come up with the idea of the application, like Byte and the whole concept of it?
Okay, I guess I could mention a little more of the story now. I guess this is more would do with me. The reason like this app came to mind is actually kind of like personal, sort of, because my mom is she's older. She's like she's 68, and so she is from Colombia. And in the 1950s, the economic situation wasn't so great. So she had 5 siblings, and there were nights that they had to go to sleep hungry. So whenever my mom tells me that story, like she chokes up and she gets like very emotional. But the way I put it in perspective is that my mom, unfortunately, has had 2 sisters die when she was younger. So whenever I put it in perspective, whenever she tells me that story, she gets upset, but like she really breaks down when it comes to about like being hungry and like how awful that feeling is. So that kind of really drives home, like that really drove home for me the importance of everyone should at least have a plate of food to eat, and going to bed hungry is something that I am very fortunate to have never experienced. I would like, for those who are unfortunately experiencing that now, I would love to help them however I could. And it's just like, even if it's giving one person a plate of food, that's changing someone's world. And I think creating an app, it's crazy to me that, because it doesn't really cost anyone too much money. There's already excess food from the restaurants and everyone. So it's all we're doing is, instead of throwing it away, we're just giving it to people who need it. So that's why this app means so much to me. It's so personal, and I was very, very excited it was selected, and I was very happy I got the team that I got to really see this idea be created.
Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody from the audience, any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the idea is literally awesome, but I've actually been in a situation where we've had leftover food and I've wanted like to personally give it out. Would a user be able to do something like that, or is it just?
I love that you asked that question, because I forgot to bring it up during like our presentation. So yes, I believe Margette was the one who brought it up, so it points to her, that what if a user has excess food and they want to give it away? The reason we didn't implement it for this design is because we can't assume everyone's intention for using the app. So we want to provide safety for maybe personal users who have excess food. Maybe it's someone who's not as secure or could be easily taken advantage of, unfortunately. So if they wanted to volunteer the food that they had, they might put themselves at risk, or it might open that up. So at least like if it's a restaurant or a public space, there's more people. We can assume there's more people there. It's more secure. It's just a more secure environment. There's people coming in and out of the store every day getting food. So it's not someone going to someone's door, like coming to my apartment. Like if I'm not home, then it's my mom home. My mom's an older woman. So like, there's just like liability there, that room for problems. We kind of talked about maybe future implementation having like a courier service where like kind of like Uber Eats, someone picks up the food and then brings it somewhere else. That could be like a way to fix that, but that would be somewhere down the line.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you, Byte. One more question from the audience. Perfect. Thank you, Christian, and thank you, Byte. Next up, we have Together. Give it again to Together. Give it up.
Woo!
Awesome. Together, my question to you would be, what was the best part of working on the application over the week period? Well, not a week, 4 days, 3.5 days, right? What was the best part of working on the app?
The best?
Yes, experience-wise.
You just see how everybody thinks differently towards the same problem, and then it was just, I guess the best part is just like working together, like at this point, because everybody's home. Like I have no one to talk to, right? So it was good to have like 3 other people to talk to. For me, at least.
Okay, anybody else on the team want to share their experiences? What was the high part of working on the application?
Yeah, I agree with Staring. That was really nice to be on Zoom a lot, and like the days went by super fast.
Okay.
But the communication, yeah, it was good.
Talking about communication and working remotely, can you guys talk about that? Like, what's the challenges there compared to being physically at Pursuit versus working on Zoom versus onboarding to remote work? Anybody want to talk about that? What's working for you guys currently?
Just slacking, Zooming. I mean, like it's different, it's harder, but like in person, you can actually like see or like help immediately or like ask for help. But remote wise, like everybody has their own time to work on. So you can't really say, all right, I need this done, but then they don't work at that time. So you can't really expect anything.
So like coordinating time.
Yeah. Versus like being in school, everybody's there from 9 to 6, no matter what. So it's different. Because when home, everybody's not going to be there 9 to 6.
If you guys had one feature to work on, like give 3 more days, what feature would it be in the application?
I would work on messaging. Maybe like better like representing how the contact will happen between people. I think that's, yeah.
Okay. Very good, very good. Thank you very much. Again, give it up to Together, Togetherness, Together app. Thank you, sir. Person is also certified to feed people. I'm just going to the chat to see if anybody else has a chat question. Cool, perfect, thank you. Next up, we have Take Me Home. Give it up for Take Me Home. Questions for Take Me Home?
Not be clapping.
You could unmute yourself to clap. There you go. Exactly. Take Me Home. Question for you. Why did you choose this project? What's the motivation behind the project?
We were given this project.
You were given this project.
Same.
Yep.
We ranked the projects, correct?
Y'all ranked your projects, yes.
And you agreed to work on the project.
I don't remember.
What was it? I guess, actually, to put a twist on Alex's question, what was your favorite part about working on the project?
Okay. I think the best part about working on this project was the excitement of pushing our address to database and being able to retrieve the address and get a location from the database. Like understand.
One second, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Also implementing the idea of notifying, like using local notifications again. We haven't used that in a little while, to notify the user when somebody has left a region by a certain amount of feet. Help me out, guys. They were like, this whole app was really, really cool, honestly. Like, it was like we all had different ways, different thinking, different things that we wanted to do. There's still so much more that we want to add in, of course. Definitely would love to show the different versions of the app and like really differentiate it a lot clearer. There's so many things to do.
You guys had one of the implementations you guys had was the watch part of the application. That would be an implementation definitely that would be useful to a lot of unenabled functionality bodies there. So I'll definitely maybe talk further about how can you work on that particular implementation, given the time and given if you guys have that bandwidth there.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And I chose this app. I ranked it because I've personally had a time in my life where I was assisting an elderly woman, and she would wander off at 3 a.m. You know, she would put on her favorite coat, pick up her purse, she'd get dressed and wander off, and they would have to go look for her. So I know that this can help. Like, as she picks up her favorite purse, as long as her phone is in there, we'll be able to find her. We'll be able to track her down and see where she is. And also, even on the dealing with a child within the autistic spectrum, one day that just walks out the house, you know, and people have to. Thankfully, someone brought my nephew back, but that was a scary situation. He just opened the door. He just went out. So this is something that can be very useful, like and it has different type of application and usage.
Really great job, everyone. Really great job, team. We're going to go to the next group, and the judges have 5 more minutes of deliberation, so we're going to keep the questions coming. So find your peers. Anybody have any questions for find your peers?
We're also monitoring the chat, so feel free to type your question in. There. So find your peers. Again, very similar questions. What's the most challenging part of the application? And somebody else could talk about what was the best part or the highlight, right? There's ups and there's downs as we work on the application, especially given the stress. We started Monday, we completed the project today. The projects were awesome, they were great, but in between there were ups and downs there. So somebody could talk about the challenging parts and somebody else could talk about the highlights. There were many highlights.
I think the highlight was that, like, as the app was coming together, like, it just looked more and more like a real app to us, and it made me really happy to see it like all together. And then just doing the user story and like Yulia, like her presentations, like it was just so great.
Yeah, Yulia, they have stage experience there, Broadway experience. Acting
the next Steve Jobs.
I know. I was about to like jump in and buy. I don't know what she's selling, but I'm buying. That was awesome.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Like, how do you guys find the time to like learn about like authentication? Like, you guys just read documentations like YouTube, Google?
So we actually didn't get to implement the authentication. So
again, you sold us. You sold us.
You got me.
It's gonna be future add-on, hopefully. Just we were trying to think about like trying to present what we can present, and so that's what the focus was of our project.
We had semi-authentication. If you want the whole deal, we could definitely add it easily.
No, I don't want it.
You have 5 minutes.
Like,
go.
I was like, are you guys using Google Authenticator right now?
5 minutes. Go.
The biggest highlight was pushing Howard to to work for me.
like
No
I
banging.
I was like, Howard, go.
I have like bang mark everywhere in my code, so
No.
Alex, we got him to stop banging. Kind
Okay,
of.
good,
I
good.
made him nail coalesce.
Very good. Very good.
And the next,
Inspiration for the app. One more question. Inspiration for the app. Like as far as like the UI goes.
Oh, the UI? Just looking at like simple, like just looking at apps on my phone, honestly. Like I was looking at the Street Easy app and I thought that just like simple colors was a good idea. And then inspiration was just literally like in college, like it's really hard to make friends. And I came out of college with like no friends. I think in Pursuit, I'm gonna come out of college. Like I'm gonna come out of Pursuit with more friends than I did in college. Yeah.
Currently you have 92 friends here.
I don't know all of them, but I know you guys.
Thank you, find your peers. Everybody eats, which is something I'm getting actually hungry. Somebody said cocktails and something else. Everybody eats.
Hey.
Yes. Challenges, wins, highs.
Is everybody here on a
Yes.
team? Hello?
Yes, everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I enjoyed working on this. It was fun working on something. I think this was the most at least just from personal experience, I think this was the most practical app that I've worked on so far in terms of like, oh, I could see this on the App Store. So that was exciting, which made me more motivated to work. We had like some communication snafus and some like technical difficulties that prevented people, which in crunch time can be like big and scary. But I think everybody was like handled the pressure like pretty mentally there, and everyone was like kind of there for each other. So there was never like, oh my God, one person like freaking out and like everyone else getting affected by the energy. It was all just kind of like, okay, we're doing this.
What's the biggest advice you'd give to like say there's a hackathon next week that's virtual, right? What's the biggest advice or the first advice you'd give like a team heading in, whether it be technical or professional? What would that advice be?
I think the wireframing saved us like a day's worth of stuff, because I mean, the person who had this was Jahid's concept, and he had it like very fleshed out in his head. So he approached it very quickly, and I noticed that like, I mean, at least from the beginning, where we were in terms of like the app and in terms of like ideation and stuff was so far ahead because we had like actually drawn it out, and it was like detailed enough that everyone could imagine where this was going with it. So I like took a glance at like what I was working on, and I was immediately like, I know exactly what I want to do with this. I know how I would stylize on it on top of that. And yeah, I think the wireframe was a big part of it. I think communication is also super duper huge, because like there were times we like started off with our what do you call it, like the things that we're all gonna do, we agreed to do. What's it called? I'm sorry.
You could just call them tickets.
Yeah. I mean, like just the things that we like decided, like our habits that we were gonna have, and like communication was very high on them. But sometimes
norms, right? You're talking about
norms. Sorry.
Okay.
It can be hard in practice because there are times where like somebody was changed their code, and like somebody else maybe wasn't notified, and their code was based off that. So like even though we're talking all the time, like I'm doing this, sometimes you don't always think about the implications of your code on that. But I think overall, like everyone had a lot of creative freedom for their individual VCs. I personally like doing the code for the allergy indicators, because I like the way they were stylized, and they would like represent like I have it set so that way there can be more than one allergy. So you could have like peanut and soy events, and those would appear like, so at a glance you could be like, oh, that event has that going on. So I like doing that, and I think Jahid could probably talk about like some of the things, or Chelsea.
Yeah, we'll take one more comment from one of the team members, whether it be high or low or best practice approach to like virtual hackathon. Because really and truly, this is the first one of many, well, probably many, but we'll do more of those, but just like more informative, like how can we get better? What would you tell the fellow coming after you doing a virtual hackathon?
Just be consistent. I think I'm sure Alex knows about this, like runner's high. Like I think I got like a coder's high last night because
I saw you 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
Yeah, I didn't sleep. And I didn't even realize like I wasn't sleeping. Like it just like 8 o'clock hit. And I was just like, wait, what? Okay. Like, and then, so yeah,
that's a really high, that's a high there, right
yeah.
there.
So
Jahid and Ahad. Yeah.
What do you say, Matt?
Jahid and Ahad in general were like marathon runners. I was like, I like got my ducks in a row, and I was like, I'm good for now. They're like, no.
We gotta keep going. We gotta do this.
I was like, yeah. So I'm impressed by their endurance.
Awesome.
Something to be said.
That's amazing. Thank you, everybody. Eats. Give it up again. Woo! Awesome. Fair and square. Same format. Talk about your wins, your highs, best practices. What would you tell your future self or your past self about hackathon, virtual hackathon especially?
I think for me personally, one of the challenges that I dealt with, I should say, is scaling back from like the recent lessons and the labs and the projects and the scales that kind of contained, and just focusing on using simple tools to get a simple job done, and remembering that you know, it can kind of be held together by duct tape, and then you kind of reinforce everything together from there. So looking back at it, I think I would have liked to have started with simpler ideas. We had KVO in mind. We had core data almost implemented.
Just put the whole resume in it.
Right, exactly. Well, maybe that'll be for the next hackathon.
Very cool.
Yeah, looking back, I just kind of wish I would have just built with simpler tools and then scaled up from there, as opposed to starting with a lot of tools and whittling down to the core stuff.
It's good. We have capstone coming up. Good. Very good. Thank you, Fair and Square. Our last team, let's go.
Volo.
Come on the screen. There you go, Volo. Give it up for Volo. Woo! So right after Volo goes, we'll go into awards. So Volo, talk about your highs, lows. Definitely, what would you tell other fellows coming into virtual hackathons, or the world in general, whoever is doing a virtual hackathon? What would you have like the top 1, 2, 3 tips of like heading into a virtual hackathon?
Well, like from
Stay awake.
Stay awake, you said?
Stay awake.
Stay awake as long as you can and code as long as you can.
That's right.
Eric fell asleep coding and was dreaming that he was coding.
That's gold right there.
No, I stopped.
We gotta do a shirt. We gotta do a shirt for that one.
I'm telling you.
You're just gonna see like A S D F G H J K, his forehead on the keyboard.
Anybody else want to go? And then we'll go into awards.
I would definitely say that you can accomplish much more than you think you can in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think that was our biggest challenge, was scaling back on everything we wanted to do.
Because it's exciting, right? I want to build this
Yeah.
cool app. I want to show the most I can on Thursday, right? But at the same time, I only have so much hours.
We're pretty communicative on everything too. Like,
What do you say, Howard?
What technologies you use for that messaging system?
The
None of your business.
Firebase Cloud Messenger.
Okay.
It's actually very, very simple.
Howard is doing a Git clone right now.
He's not the only one.
You're gonna
make it
get
private.
lost too.
Get lost?
I'm going to make that private real quick.
With that said, I'm going to hand it back to Mr. MC Aaron to take it off to the awards show.
Nice. It's deliberation time. So
too fast. I'm getting anxious.
So judges, please, without further ado, please give us your most impactful project, and please give us a description of why you chose the project and what was your thought process into it.
I'm supposed to take this one. So the most impactful project, I'll get to it in a second, but before that, I just want to say how impressed we all were with your commitment to helping the community, giving back, and just how much you were able to get done in just a matter of 3 days. So really, really proud and great to see everyone coming together and working towards these really important problems that matter. And that's what impact is all about. As a developer first, product manager later, I think about problems that matter, that impact a lot of people, and solutions that are going to get us to a better state. And that's what this category was about. And the project that resonated most with it was Bite.
Woo! Give it up for Bite! Bite, bite, bite!
Of the problem or the mission statement that no one should go hungry is, I think, everyone can get behind and work towards. And that's what a great problem or an impactful project is all about. The impressive part was that in the MVP, you were able to get to solving the crux of the problem with just what was needed and nothing more. And that's a really hard thing to do as product teams or engineering teams, where you want to do hundreds of things or features and bells and whistles, but it's really hard to trim that down to just solving the thing that you're trying to solve. And I think you did that really well.
Thank you so much.
Christian!
Woo!
Awesome.
It's actually a problem I've looked at in the past.
Partnership?
One thing I want to think about is restaurants or food providers in some areas have trouble doing that even if they want to, because it's illegal and they have liability issues. So that's just one thing to get over. Another thing that you might want to look into is peer-to-peer or just regular people sharing food with neighbors or people in their area.
Like crowdsourcing?
Exactly.
Thank you so very much. It means a lot to me.
Woo!
And now for the next category, highest efficacy.
So I'm taking this one. Before I announce, I also just want to say the amount that every single group has achieved in the last 3 days has absolutely, it's mind blowing. I know how hard it is, or how hard it can be to work in a team when you're all working in the same room, but to be working remote, working in a team in just a 3-day period. All of you should be like so proud of all the work you achieved. None of the apps came up that made us go like, well, they were all amazing, and you guys have all done a fantastic job. With that said, highest efficacy. I feel like Zoom needs like a drum roll.
I got it. Let me wait for it. Wait for it.
Okay.
Where's GarageBand? Come up. It might take a couple seconds. That was a tease.
I can't hear the drum roll, but
banging on the keyboard.
Highest efficacy. I don't think it will come as any surprise. Goes to Peer Finder. The amount.
You're going to Hollywood. You're going to Hollywood. Cassandra, you get to go to Hollywood.
The amount of work that you guys got done in just those 3 days is absolutely insane. It looks like weeks and weeks worth of work somehow crammed into just 3 days. I know from my own experience, the quickest I've ever made an app has been 2 weeks, and even that wasn't up to the level of polish as a peer finder. I think the idea of helping students connect with one another, especially for students who may have relocated to go to a uni and they don't know anyone in the city at all. I really, really like the idea. And then I thought that was cool in itself. And then you unveiled like a marketplace, and I thought that was just really, really cool. Having a place that just students can go to buy and sell textbooks, or it's a place that allows the users of your app to actually expand upon your own original intentions with functionality. People could go on the marketplace and sell tutoring. They could sell whatever they want. And so I just thought your efficacy was off the charts, and the impact and creativity were also really, really high. So great job to Peer Finder. You've all done, honestly, like amazing.
Woo! 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 Peer Finder! Peer Finder!
Woo! 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 Cassandra, are you crying? Oh my gosh, yay!
No.
Samba dance break after every.
All right, and the
Nice
last
animation.
award goes to the most creative team, the team with the most creative idea and the most creative solution. And this award is going to...
Mute. You're on mute. Abby?
I am on mute. Okay. Yeah, Creative Z was a tough one for us. Everyone's ideas were super creative, tackling very niche problems. So we actually decided to redefine the category to talk about more about the creative process when implementing the solution. One of the big aspects of this is how the interface of an app allows the user to navigate it easily and then get straight to the point. My background is in design, and I'm obviously biased to think this, but this is just as important as the problem or the engineering. But with this definition, and perhaps I already alluded to this, but the award for the most creative team goes to Volo.
Volo, volo, baila, volo, baila, baila, volo.
Volo.
Put it up. Yeah, man. I'm so happy for all of us, man.
Let's get it.
Amini! Kobe! Eric! I'm getting too excited.
And I really want to touch upon that. Yes, it was not only a creative solution, but a really well-designed app. Really, you should be all proud of yourselves.
Shout out to Brendan.
Hey,
Brendan put a color palette up, and as soon as we saw it, we were like, "Oh,
Brendan!
we got this."
This was a real group effort, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody definitely put in.
Hashtag get lost.
Group first.
Coined it.
Get clone. Get fork. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Get creative.
Get creative. Yes. All right. So now I'm going to let Alex take it away from here.
So we'll Slack out a form so that we could get some feedback from. We want to thank, there's a lot of people to thank, right? I could basically go through all the names here. We want to thank our volunteers, our mentors. We want to thank our tech mentors. We want to thank our presentation mentors for helping us put all this together, helping the fellows get inspired, feel inspired, continue being motivated, polishing the demos, getting everything up and ready for Thursday for now. The classroom team, thank you, Aaron, although you left us, well, be the sweet. Congrats again, but the classroom team, Sloan, Antonio, everybody, we always come together. And if anything, like Zoom and remote has brought our classroom team closer, like to be frank, because it's very easy to jump on Zoom and just like to talk about classroom stuff there. So you guys rock, really. Thank the Pursuit staff, Russi, Jose, definitely thank you for coming through. This is tough times, we were able to come through. Give accolades to the fellows for the hard work and everything. Definitely our CEO for keeping everything together here, keeping the lights on. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everybody. Jessica, director, everybody. This is awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, friends, family, judges, right? Will, Abby, Security, thank you so much for the time that you've devoted to judging this hackathon. I really want to almost do a hackathon every month at this point. This was very, very exciting. With that said, I want to hand it off to our CEO, Mr. Juke, who's going to lead us off into the cocktail hour.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. And thanks, everyone. I really want to just thank everyone for joining. I was so impressed. I had a chance to see some of the apps in the hackathon. This is the world. It's obviously totally crazy and everything that's happening. But I think this event really shows kind of the power of our community. And I'm so proud of everyone, our fellows, our alumni, our staff. Thank you to our volunteers and judges for really putting together the work to make our first virtual hackathon possible. I heard this from some of the judges, and I really think it's true. It's hard enough a lot of times to build these things and work together. And it's even more difficult doing it first time all remotely. That takes so much more teamwork, thought and planning. So I just want to give a kudos to everyone and really thank our team for making this happen. It's really incredible, and yeah, I'm really glad we can do that. Congratulations to Byte, Peerfinder, and all the other winners. Super cool. I'm glad this is on community needs. I think, what's great about the hackathon and everything is just, the ingenuity and creativity that everyone displays. I think we really see people's personalities and thoughts. And I really think we have really, truly the best kind of community and fellows, and that's all really expressed here. Not just amazing apps, but really, mission focused on values. And I feel every time I see that also reminds me why this is important. So I thank you for that too. And kind of last, just want to thank particularly our alumni who helped contribute. Lucy for stepping up and kind of donating for the prizes. Jose always. Also, I think again, just emphasizing community, that's so important in these times. And no matter what may happen in the wider world, I think that's going to be a strength for all of us that we have together. So look forward to the happy hour. And I hope we have more events like this. And not just this hackathon, but, now is the time to build, and that, hopefully we take these talents and skills and put into place where, we showcase all the great work that everyone's doing, but also build like much needed things to help the world, that there's so much need right now. And I think everyone can contribute to that. So thank you again.
Woo! Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Juke, for those kind and inspirational words. We would not be here without your vision. And we want to thank you to the judges and thank you to the team for participating. And we'll see you all at the happy hour.
Which is continuing now. I'm going to go grab a drink. I'll be right back. You guys can hang out. We're hanging out.
9 in the morning here. I don't think I can grab a drink. That'd be inappropriate.
Well, I think that's back to bed for you.
Grab a nice coffee.
Everyone,
I've already finished my coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, Nora, she's so cute. Hi, Nora.
Oh, Nora.
Like, who are these people?